This week we have a Sport Nation karting special for you with all the thrilling highlights of the Box Technologies and Technico 24-hour endurance kart race from Whilton Mill near Northampton. "24-hour racing is motorsport's ultimate test of endurance and stamina, and whether it's karting or sports cars, the challenge remains the same. With almost 40 teams on the entry list from as far afield as Holland and Norway, we can expect close, top-quality racing.
Normal karting tends to be sprint racing, maybe 8 or 10 lap sprints with a 10-lap final. This is an endurance event in its true sense. It's a 24-hour event. It requires an awful lot more preparation, a lot more team members, backup, everything you can imagine for a 24-hour event.
For this weekend's huge challenge, not just any old kart will do. There's more to these purpose-built racing machines than meets the eye.
So this is your endurance kart. Okay, it's got a heavier weight chassis than a sprint kart or anything like that. It's designed to last. Bridgestone tyres on these. Everyone's running the same. They're all controlled. We've got just an endurance bodywork. Most people use this dustbin lid Bigfoot NASA panel. Supposedly it's a bit better aerodynamics, but mainly it's a weatherproofing. Keeps your legs a bit drier. Coming back, standard steering column, direct, no actual rack or pinion or anything like that. You've got adjustments for caster through the front, and you can also adjust camber as well. As you see, we've got 2 engines. They're Honda GX160 engines. Both run on the same axle. In case you haven't got to set each engine up, it just drives through one solid axle. And the drive is taken through a centrifugal clutch to the back axle and drives the back wheels.
It's not just the kit, the team has to be up to the task as well. Preparation will often start months in advance.
We've got a brand new chassis we're racing for this race. I mean, it's worthwhile to do that. But of course, in so doing, you go out and shake down and you find there's all sorts of things that aren't quite right. So we've had sort of various things we're doing here with tracking and laser geometry systems. It's quite a complicated business for simple karting. So it's a lot to do in quite a short period of time, and we were a bit hampered yesterday by a lot of rain. So we haven't done quite the practice and testing we'd have liked.
Of course, everybody's looking to the adrenaline rush of actually racing the kart, but the teams have to be prepared to multitask as well.
We're all hands-on, so we're all driving, but we've all got slightly different roles to do outside of the kart. Some of us are a bit involved in team organisation and driver order. People like John more involved in mechanics and repairs. And we've even got our own chef, but he hasn't arrived yet.
The best teams will have anticipated every eventuality.
We were here 2 weeks ago practicing things like tyre changes, bodywork changes, driver changes, basic mechanics that are likely to happen during the race that are normally we wouldn't have an opportunity to practice unless you're in the heat of the moment. So that's useful because time saved in the pits is time saved on the circuit. It's all about the team and the long game. We're not here to set the fastest lap because we've got 24 hours of running to do, so it's most important that the kart gets to the end, and for us that's all in the preparation.
With everyone's preparation having been severely hampered by poor weather, final practice had added significance. This was the last chance to get the setup right for the race weekend.
We're practicing at the moment. They've got a full half-hour period of untimed practice, and then we go straight into a half-hour qualifying period. That will determine positions on the grid for the start of the race.
Time was fast running out. The pressure was starting to build for the teams.
Well, yesterday was wet and on a drying circuit, so we've got a sort of compromise setup on at the moment. So we've got a bone-dry track out there now, gives us a better idea on what the car's performance is like in the dry, and hopefully set us up for the race now.
Qualifying's when the teams can also weigh up the opposition, and for some it can prove a frustrating time.
Yeah, due from it, but it's going to wind me up if you like this all weekend.
For others, though, it would be payback for all the hard work and preparation. Topping the timesheets, the Autotech team claimed that all-important pole position.
No, really, I mean, we all just got out there and sort of got a feel for the kart and then made a few minor adjustments, which seemed to work. Just fingers crossed now that it will suit every condition throughout the weekend, really.
So as the huge field of 38 karts lines up on the grid in readiness for the midday start, let's take a look at how the top half of the field lined up after qualifying. Southampton-based outfit Autotech took pole from the Midlanders of the AJB squad, who were in second and third ahead of HRS Racing. A bit of a surprise perhaps, the highly rated Racing for Holland team only in 10th place ahead of Model World, with Team Tech 13th and Box Tech starting out in 18th place. Away they go then, the start of this 24 hours, the rolling start. From pole position, the 25 kart Autotech AGB 1 and 2, the two black-nosed machines right behind. Team Frascati trying to show strongly on the inside. And as ever, despite the fact it is a 24-hour endurance race, everybody wants to lead the first 24 seconds. Out front, Autotech AGB pushing them already. This is exactly what you expect to see at the start of a 10-lap sprint, but this is probably not going to continue for too much longer. Phenomenally large field, and all the way down the order, jostling for position. It's such an old racing truism that you can't win the race on the first lap, but that doesn't stop everybody trying. AJB showing the nose and taking the lead halfway round the first lap. And that's a moral superiority stroke there from their starting driver. Try and stamp their authority on their rivals. Autotech may have claimed pole is the message there, but you're going to have to win this race from the front over the next 23 hours and 59 minutes. So with AJB taking first blood, Autotech under pressure from AJB2 as well. Runs a little wide, and the AJB2 team now up into second position. Well, Paul, look at this for the start of a 24-hour race.
Yeah, I think Autotech are under a lot of pressure from the two AJB teams. I don't know how comfortable he's feeling with those two behind him at the moment.
Well, he sounded a little nervous on the grid when he spoke to him before the start of the race, didn't he? He saw the move coming down the inside. He wasn't going to contest that on cold tyres and risk damage and time spent in the pits. And once your rhythm has been upset by one driver, it's not hard for somebody else to find a way through as well. AJB2 having to be a little more robust, but the move was made nonetheless. So a time for everybody to settle down a little, Paul. You wouldn't expect them to still be racing like this in 5 or 6 hours' time, but it's important to get into your rhythm nice and early.
Yes, they've got all the brakes and the tyres all up to temperature now. They're starting to find a little bit of a rhythm, and they're going to be looking for some consistent lap times now.
87 Frascati Racing,
yeah,
the Kent-based team up into third as well.
Yes, he's through as well. I believe they may well have set the Autotech karts up a little differently to the others. He's certainly struggling at the moment.
Well, he's taken third place back, but he's now seeing the AJB crews getting away from him. And what's more, it's not just Frascati, there's a big queue behind him. Another 35 karts lining up behind, not all of them immediately close enough to pass, but certainly this early racing is going to produce some very fraught moments for a lot of these kart racers. Well, now they really need to bed themselves in the rhythm, getting the cars around the circuit exactly the same way lap after lap is so important in endurance racing. You set your lap time and you want to try and achieve it every single lap you can. Otherwise, all the planning, all the preparation, all the hard work just turns into a big scramble for the next 24 hours. Now there's a man with plenty of targets in his sights. 16th place for the MK Racing team. They're on the back of this queue, up from Sandhurst. What about the Dutch? Didn't show as strongly in qualifying, but their blue and orange kart working its way up the order very quickly in these opening laps, Paul.
Yes, I think you're going to see the Dutch come on stronger and stronger as this race goes on. They are the Dutch champions, and they came second at this event last year.
Well, they know the track then, they've got plenty of experience, Dutch champions, British champions, so we can expect to see some real fireworks from them. And they're starting to get into top gear as Autotech 25 leading the chase for second place. AJB2 there, 72, under pressure from Frascati. Right behind them, the Superkarts team. And 38 also looking to make a move on Frascati. That's Superkarts. Couldn't quite get through. That would be the change for fourth position. But with every kart that you're chasing, there seems to be one behind you looking to take a place as well. Paul, drivers have to be very, very aware of what the other traffic is doing when they're trying to make a move.
Yes, they've all got a pretty good idea who's behind them. They've also got radio contact, so they've got watchers out there. They know exactly what's going on.
So spotters, pit to shore radio, but all the same, AGB2 running a little wide under pressure again from Frascati. Frascati, the 87 car, with Superkarts behind them as well. So lots and lots of pressure. And there's the Dutch leading the next queue. Well, they qualified 10th, they're up to 7th at the moment, and what, 9, 10 karts behind them. Well, this is a phenomenal pace that they're setting early on. Of course, slick racing tyres, no suspension apart from the air in the tyre, so it looks very bumpy. It feels pretty bumpy as well for all these drivers.
Yeah, a lot of these top drivers, particularly the top front-running teams, they've got some serious drivers out there that do it day in, day out. Very, very fit guys indeed.
Well, you can see that even the businessmen who are running their own teams for the fun of it are pretty much athletic, fit guys, but to run this sort of punishing pace for 24 hours, you really do have to be very well gym trained. And you'll notice also there aren't too many 6'6" drivers in here either. You see them hanging way out up into the airstream. The ideal karter is the same as the ideal Formula One driver. Light, short and wiry. Excess weight doesn't go down well with the kart. They may have twin engines, but everybody's got basically the same kit, Paul, same tyres, same engines, but a variety of different chassis manufacturers.
Yes, there's about 4 or 5. The major chassis manufacturers have got entrance in here, but as you say, all the tyres are controlled, all the engines are controlled.
And here's a great onboard view. Top speeds here over 70 miles an hour. Don't forget the driver's backside is literally an inch or two off the tarmac. Pressuring the Racing for Norway team here at the back of the queue. This is all the queue for 7th place, and the phenomenal cornering grip from these slick racing tyres really has to be experienced to be believed. The little bucket seats you're sitting in, sometimes you never think that they're going to hold you in around the corners, but again, that's something the pros are so used to, the flowing smooth techniques. You can see all these top drivers, they are so experienced. Handling the karts at these kind of speeds is just second nature to them.